AI never sleeps, and this week has been absolutely insane.
In other news, we have another top open source image generator. This time it's by Tencent Hunyuan, and they finally released HunyuanImage-3.0. This is incredibly powerful. This has built-in world understanding, much like GPT's image generator, as well as Google's Imagen and Qwen Image. Here are some examples. You can generate a 9-square grid tutorial on how to sketch a parrot, and here's what you get. Or here's an illustration showing the evolution from monkeys to humans, and then the final humans sitting in front of a computer. It's also really good at aesthetics, as you can see here. This looks much more realistic and unrefined compared to, previous generations of image models like Flux, which kind of look too plasticky and perfect. Here are some other examples for your reference. It's also great at generating text, as you can see here. I especially like this one because it's super complicated. Each letter has to be rendered using a different material, including all of these materials. But as you can see, it was able to pull it off very well. And because of its world understanding, this is really good at generating long snippets of text in the image. So here's one example. It's also great at generating infographics or diagrams or PowerPoint slides like this. Here's another example. Now, here are some benchmark scores for your reference. So on the left is its performance using English prompts, and on the right is using Chinese prompts. And they're comparing this with Seedream, Nano Banana, and GPT Image. Note that all three of these are closed source and paid. But for HunyuanImage 3, although for English prompts it does fall short for some categories, overall its performance is actually very similar to the top closed source models out there. Now, if you use Chinese prompts instead, then it's actually a lot better for some of these benchmarks, as you can see like for this one. Here are some other metrics for your reference. So here they got more than 100 professional evaluators, whatever that means, to compare the generations of all four models and select a winner. And here it seems like HunyuanImage actually got the highest win rate. Alright, so how do you use this? Well, first of all, you can try this out for free using their online interface. So simply click Try It Now, which will take you to this page. You might need to sign up for free first before you can use this interface. But afterwards, here is where you would select HunyuanImage 3.0. Here is where you would enter your prompt and select the aspect ratio and the number of images. Notice that HunyuanImage currently can only do text to image, so it can't do image to image or image editing where you would upload some reference images for it to edit like Nano Banana. Here are some really quick but challenging tests that I tried out with HunyuanImage. First of all, I got it to create a Pokemon card for Neo Charizard. It's basically a Charizard with a cyberpunk vibe, and here are the specs. And it got most of the details correct, such as the HP, the move, which should be Neo Flame, which costs 4 fire energies, plus it does 120 damage, so it got everything that I specified. However, down here, it does generate some gibberish, so if I don't specify the details, then it's just going to give me something like this. But overall, the design is pretty cool. Next, because they claim it's so good at world understanding, I wanted to see if it actually knows some popular anime characters. So here we have Naruto, Nezuko, Goku, Doraemon, Amelia, and Satoru Gojo taking a selfie together. And it actually nailed this. I guess one flaw is that Amelia's outfit plus Nezuko's outfit isn't really correct, but other than that, I mean, this photo looks really good, and the anime characters are all accurate. Like, even Naruto's leaf logo is accurate. Alright, here's an even trickier prompt, which I did not expect it to get 100% correct, so here's a presentation slide with the following text plus the data broken down into these percentages. So it got the title, subtitle, and the source correct, as you can see over here and down here, but it couldn't really turn this into a nice looking pie chart. So it got like most of the details correct, it got the legend correct, but this isn't really in like clockwise order, so it should be like 55 and then 19.7 and then 10.4, 6.2, etc. So the order of this pie chart is all messed up for some reason, and then there are some extra labels over here. So basically the pie chart isn't really correct. However, the text here is correct. So I guess it can do simple presentation slides, but if you feed it a ton of data that it needs to display into graphs and charts, then it starts to fail. Alright, here's another tricky test. A 3x3 grid of student life memes featuring the following themes: all-nighter studying, exam panic, etc, etc. You can pause this video to read this prompt if you want, but basically here is what we get. And for the most part, it's really good. It's actually able to generate everything that I specified in this 3x3 grid. Now, there are subtle flaws with this. For example, the text behind over here is gibberish. Plus, this guy's eyes are messed up, and it looks like the same guy's eyes are also messed up in this generation. The poor guy turned into a zombie or something. But other than that, I mean, it did get the overall details correct. And then here, I told it to give me 2 panels side by side with the title Spot the Difference with subtle differences between the 2 images, and it executed this very well. It indeed introduced some subtle differences between both images. Now here's another even trickier prompt, which is a hand making a shadow which looks like a rabbit, and it wasn't really able to do that. Like, this does not look realistic, so it's not that good yet. Now that being said, these are super challenging prompts that most other image models do not get correct. So I'm really trying to test its limits. For basic images like this, HunyuanImage-3 does a fantastic job, and it's just as good as the leading models out there. Now, in addition to the online interface, the awesome thing is they have open sourced this, so you could download this and run it locally, but before you get too excited, here's the thing. You need at least 170 gigabytes to store the models, plus in terms of GPU VRAM, you need at least 3 times 80 gigabytes, in other words, 240 gigabytes of VRAM in order to run this. I mean, who the hell has 240 gigabytes lying in their bedroom? Even an RTX 6000 Pro only has 96 gigabytes. So I'm sure for most of you, including myself, you're not going to be able to download and run this locally on your computer. And that's why, even though this came out this week, I didn't really do a full tutorial because nobody could actually use this locally yet. However, the Tencent team is aware of this limitation, and they are working hard to create a more quantized or compressed version that can actually run on consumer-grade GPUs. So stay tuned for that. For now, like I showed you, you can try this out for free using their online interface. And if you're interested in reading the specs further, I'll link to this main announcement page in the description below.